what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
We all know that in order to get the best barbecue, you've got to take it low and slow. But when it comes to all the work behind the barbecue, it's the complete opposite. In fact, some might say that life in barbecue in North Carolina agribusiness is all gas and no brakes 365. That's the motto of Master Blend Family Farms and its high-energy, hard-working CEO and pitmaster, Ronald Simmons. We first met Mr. All Gas, No Brakes 365 during the Carolina Barbecue Festival at Camp North End. Ronald and his third-generation family farm have such a cool story, we wanted to have him back for a deep dive. In this episode, we find out more about the start of the business, his thirst for knowledge shared by mentors from all walks of life, and how digital media has played such a big part in the success for Master Blend Nation. Ron also gives us a behind-the-scenes look at his dynamic duo that's promoting everything that has got to be NC across North Carolina as part of a program with the North Carolina Department of Agriculture. Speaking of behind the scenes, be sure to visit the Low and Slow blog, and you can get all the details about Master Blend Family Farms, links to order products, and all the specifics behind Ron's family recipe for Master Blend sausage rolls. Visit lowslowbbqshow.com to find the blog and all the other podcast episodes we've created in our Carolina Pitmaster series. One of our very favorite pitmasters in the series joins us today for this conversation on the road with Master Blend Family Farms and Ronald Simmons. Welcome back to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show, Mr. Ronald Simmons.
Yes. How you guys doing? Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to jump right on into our conversation. I know we had you on board at the Carolina Barbecue Festival at Camp North End in Charlotte here a little while back. And we got a first chance to meet you and experience the Master Blend Nation experience, right? And now I want to invite a larger audience to know a little bit more about you. So tell me, first of all, tell me about the Master Blend Family Farms. How long have you guys been in business and how long have you been involved?
So Master Blend Family Farms was established in 2012. The cool thing was it started out as a joke. I was asking my father-in-law, was it any way possible that I could take over the farm because he was retiring? And he kind of laughed at first and he was like, well, if you're serious, you can take a shot at it. And that was pretty much magic in the making. And as far as like the Master Blend movement, what we're always trying to do is like inspire anyone that's associated with agriculture. And then the barbecue piece or the culinary piece, it comes about because we look at creating good food and at the same time rendering an awesome experience for those that choose to roll with us, right? That's ultimately what it's about. And so, that's pretty much like the magic potion. I believe that people will remember you not always for what you do, but how you make them feel.
Most
so
definitely.
I always try to do my best to make sure they have a phenomenal experience.
Yeah, right on. So, you told me it started out as kind of a joke with your retiring, family member there. What were you doing prior to that, and what led you to kind of make that joke?
So the cool thing was I had an opportunity to meet some phenomenal mentors in the agriculture industry. One of them that I always reflect on is a great mentor. He goes by the name of Wendell Murphy. Wendell Murphy has been on the pork scene in the pork industry well over, 40 years. And some people will know him as being at one time one of the largest pork producers in the country.
Uh-huh.
There was a time he owned 330,000 production sows, which are the mama pigs that produce the barbecue that we love to cook.
Oh yeah.
And
right. So he was an inspiration to you.
Yeah. So I had a chance to meet him, and I was so floored at how magnificent their enterprise was. And I asked him one day, understand, I didn't even know who he was when I made this question.
Mm-hmm.
I asked him, I said, man, do you think that there's any way possible a young guy like myself that's trying to figure it out could be as phenomenal as the individual that established this company? And he was like, absolutely, bro. He was like, that's a no-brainer. Anyone that's dedicated to their craft can create an industry or make an impact in the industry as he did. Again, I still didn't know who he was. I actually shot a couple of jokes at him, saying how awesome his Cadillac was. He was driving I think it was like a 1990 Cadillac. It was beautiful. It was immaculate.
Right.
And I was like, and he was like, "You really like this car?" I said, "Man, I have a car just like it. But whenever I pull up to the stoplight, my car will shake and shimmy and make a few pops and noises, and I was like, but overall, I love the car, man." And he was like, "You have no clue who I am." I said, "Not a clue." I said, "But you're so awesome. Your car is awesome. Your jacket." He has this red leather jacket. He's an NC State alumni.
Right.
And
Right.
so,
Go Wolfpack.
and
Right
so,
on.
and so he introduced himself. He said, "Hey, so my name is Wendell Murphy. I own all of this." And I felt about yay high to a grasshopper. I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed." But from there, he actually stayed beside me, walked me through a few different processes. And
Yeah.
so, we've arrived where we are now, and I don't regret it for a second.
Yeah, cool. Right on. So tell me a little bit more going back to the farm itself. What are you guys doing? What's your focus? What are you producing and raising and growing and selling out there?
So the cool thing about the farm, we just came up on our 10-year anniversary under the brand Master Blend Family Farms. What we specialize in is pork. I've actually tried to experiment with the horticulture side. So Dad, he does a lot of produce, a lot of vegetables, peppers, corn.
Mm-hmm.
But Dad later said to me he didn't want me to be involved with the corn side because at the time I couldn't distinguish what was corn and what was grass because they both were in the same family and they look just alike.
Sure, when they're small, yeah, they do.
Yeah. And so with that, I was like, okay, well, I'll stick to the pork, and he kind of handles everything else. And in the beginning, he was under the impression it was going to be small operation, just to maintain what we had established, in our neighborhood, our community.
Mm-hmm.
But I had bigger plans. I had bigger mentors, and I love to chase dreams, be big.
Yeah.
And I do the respected research, but ultimately I wanted to be like a pillar within the agriculture industry. You know what I'm saying? And it was solely because what I've learned over the years is that the general population of farmers that are producing commodities, they're dwindling. And so the age group kind of shifts a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
So, but that's pretty much been it. So I'm on the forefront with the pork side, from whole hogs that can go on the grill all the way down to the packaged goods.
Yep.
So we specialize in a variety of sausages. We render like this awesome hickory smoked bacon. A lot of people love it. And we've gotten to the point now that we have established a reputation and relationships with some of the like high-end restaurants in North Carolina.
Okay. All right. Who are some of your customers, if you can name a few? I mean, if you don't mind.
Oh yeah. So I love AC. She goes by the name of Ashley Christensen. She's a James Beard Award recipient.
Oh yeah. Okay.
She has about 8 different establishments in the Raleigh-Durham area. We've had the opportunity to work with the Pit, which is in downtown Raleigh. We worked with them now for about 8 years.
Okay.
And just because of that one relationship there alone, they've allowed us so many opportunities to work with them on different projects where you're standing behind the community and helping to raise resources and awarenesses about what's going on in the community with our kids and our youth. And then we work with some of our colleagues, some of our great customers down at the coast. So Cast Iron Kitchen, it's Chef Petty. I call him Josh, but he's worked alongside Guy Fieri on some of the, yeah. So like on the Food Network, and then we've worked with Sweet Lou down in Charlotte. That's my main man. Yeah. I love that guy. He's amazing.
Solid.
And then even up to people that have the reputation like Mr. Chris Prado over at Prime in Nightdale. So I look at them now like they're mentors to me in the culinary world, and being able to learn so much from them as they do what they do is super hot. And of course, we love like rendering our contribution to all of the ticket holders at each of the festivals and events.
Yeah, that's really kind of a cool back and forth. So you're providing these guys that, a pork product that's, a super pasture raised, really, high quality piece of pork, and kind of exchange, you're getting a little pick off of their brain and learn a little bit of that culinary piece. Well, that's a nice arrangement, right? A symbiotic kind of ordeal you've got there.
Yes. And like along the way, we've been able to establish relationships with Kingsford and Kubota and Carhartt, Tractor Supply, and also with the North Carolina Department of Agriculture. Like that's been phenomenal,
Yeah.
So like the relationships we have now, I try to embrace them as well as grow new ones.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get to some of that conversation about the Department of Agriculture because I definitely want to hear about that. But before we get into that, I want to kind of go back just for a second for your spotlight as a small farmer. And I know you wanted to kind of be big and a big part of that community. And, I kind of look back here at some of the awards on your page, masterblendfarms.com, and see a lot of the recognition at Small Farm of the Year in 2018 and, a lot of that kind of stuff. What does that mean to get that recognition after you set out to put such a lofty goal to be important, not just raise what we've kind of always done, but kind of stake a claim out there and do something big, the Master Blend Nation, right?
Yes sir. So Chigger, I'll keep it real. At the time when those different accolades were happening, I think I was so caught in the process of executing the goals that it didn't resonate until time passed. I like I said, the mentors I have, a lot of times they would talk me through those different processes, but it felt so surreal at the moment when you were transitioning through them. At the moment when we were recognized for Small Farmer of the Year back in 2018, it was one of those things where my team and we had been on the platform where the farmers were acknowledged. We just were never that brand that was acknowledged. But we had rendered like a lot of our premium products to the individuals that were attending those events. And one year we were there. It was 2016. We were at the fellowship at North Carolina A&T University. And I said to my team members, I said, man, I want to be on the stage one day. And the guys were like, oh, bro, it's coming. Don't worry about it. And I was like, I know there's a lot of preparation that comes with it, and it's an honor. So, I felt like I needed to mature a little more before I arrived at the moment to be on that stage.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know it was going to happen so swiftly. And so what I always say to like small business owners and farmers, there's the time when you're in the process and you're grinding and you're banging it out. You keep going no matter how difficult that journey is. You never know who's watching on the sideline.
Yeah.
And that just so happened to be one of those pivotal moments where some of the citizens in our community was looking, as well as some of the cats in like the different parts of the state, they were looking at it. So I was floored. It was an honor, super appreciative, and always looking forward to continuing on that particular pathway.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. So now I want to shift gears and take it over into the barbecue, get back to the low and slow kind of concept here a little bit. So, tell me a little bit about Ronald Simmons. Where are you from and how did you get beyond the farm part? How did you get into smoking meat low and slow? How'd you get into the barbecue piece?
So the barbecue trend for us started as we were just getting requests from different customers that were coming up to our store on the farm. And they were like, listen, man, so we can buy your product, but do you cook your product? And I was like, well, yes, we do.
Right.
and so then, we started having a few requests. So 2013, 2014, we started having requests to cater. And then from there, it was like each time I saw something that was cool, I wanted to attempt that. And then I wanted to make my own twist, my own finesse to it.
Right.
And it's like the motivation was just watching my granddad do it. So he did it when I was a kid, 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
But it was like with him, his goal was never to be in business. His goal was actually just cooking for the community, the cookouts, stuff like that. Everybody coming through is like, man, you put one pig on the grill, they could smell it for a quarter mile.
Oh, right.
And everybody was like, oh my God. And it was like back then he was cooking on coal. And I was like, whenever it came back full circle and we had the opportunity to collaborate with Kingsford, I was like, okay, this is not real either. I remember the blue and white bag,
Oh yeah,
when
sure.
I was 10, 11 years old.
Yeah.
And now here it is, I'm receiving messages from the blue and white bag.
Right. And that's what you're pumping out there, and you're using it because it's a good product, right?
Yes,
Just
yes.
like granddad's style of cooking.
Absolutely, man. And so, I've been floored. The team now is like our team. They look and they're like, dude, we're doing this and we're doing that. And I'm like, yeah, we rocking, baby. We busting at the seams. And they're like, okay, so have you reached that moment where it kind of plateaus?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, nah, we just getting started. And everybody's like, oh man, oh my God, dude.
Right. How many people are on your team?
So we keep a staff of 12 with us.
Uh-huh.
And it varies in responsibilities from actually distributing the product from the packing plant out to the restaurants. But then we also try to get into having the bow tie and the nice white shirts and the aprons whenever it's time to render, awesome products to any customers anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like a full service catering gig, right?
Yeah. Well, you literally want to be able to be from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
Because diversity, when it comes to a business model, is critical in order for it to succeed or even thrive.
Okay. Well, so talk to me again back on the barbecue note. I've seen here on the website, barbecue fueled by ambition. What does that mean?
So everything starts with a dream.
Mm-hmm.
So literally, I believe that anything that a person desires to accomplish in life is possible if they put forth the right steps, right? So if you stay around the right people and you're always listening instead of always talking, you can learn something from anybody and everybody, because on purpose, you try to be around phenomenal people. Like this the other thing. So understand, we're not promised tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So every day you have an opportunity to wake up and be a better version of yourself than the day before. So literally wanting to be a pillar in the barbecue culture, in the agriculture scene, like all of that, it was literally, what can I do to be an example, make an impact, keep everybody thriving and uplifted? Literally to the point, whenever the pandemic happened, we acquired the food truck, but not to use it for us, but to actually use it to promote the different restaurants that we work with. We kind of had some product that was backlogging at the processing plant, and the restaurants, they were hurting because they didn't know what to do. They were trying to put together different preliminaries that would help the customers feel secure, feel safe. And so we literally set up the food truck. We started promoting items in front of those different locations, which in turn drove a lot of traffic to those restaurants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So even though they had to put the different protocols in place for safety, you still had people that were starving for a good time and starving for good food. And then, off of that is when the food truck just went into full swing. Everybody was calling about that, having it in the community, different areas, and what it represented for the community and the brand.
Yeah, definitely. That is exciting stuff. So, and change gears just a little bit here and talk a little bit about your digital media, man, because I see you all over the place. Your YouTube channel is thriving. Your Instagram. I love to see all these great pictures from these North Carolina born and bred businesses, and farms and restaurants and everything else. So, how does that digital media now play into the Master Blend Nation?
Okay. So what we always try to do is keep the Master Blend Nation in sync with what's happening with us. And now the way I'm looking at it, Chick, is literally across the country. So we have colleagues over in LA. We have colleagues over here on the East Coast, up north Montreal. Like, you got colleagues everywhere. So what we try to do is give everybody a little bit of the feel of what we got going on, where we are from day to day.
Mm-hmm.
And that pretty much keeps everybody intrigued, not only with what we're doing, but also where we are, because they learn about new locations, new farmers, new restaurants all the time. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, literally, if we can create this movement and everybody jumps on this train and we're running wide open 365, all gas and no brakes, like, bro, everybody's winning in this equation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
most definitely.
that's what that movement is about, man.
Well, now listen, but tell me, I'm in marketing, and so I know digital media too. That's a lot of work and effort, and you can't just be somebody walk out in the door and just become a pro at that. So I can tell you and your team and people have invested time and effort and energy in that. So kind of take me a little bit down that road. How did you get into that path?
So bro, it literally started with my producers that I've been working with since 2016.
Okay.
And I was floored. So like my team, my marketing team, the lead producer, he's from South Korea.
Okay.
What I loved about my dude, and it's like I'm always, it's to the point now I'm looking at him for feedback. How you feel about this? What you think about that? Because I always want to know how everyone feels about our content. Is it too rugged? Is it just right? Is there a sweet spot? And so I was sitting talking with him after we finished the video for the 2018 Small Farmer of the Year. And I was like, is there anything you would do differently? He's like, no. And so literally I would sit on the couch, man, and I'd be feeling good. Or look, I'd be in a restaurant and be feeling real good, man. And I would do some B-roll while I'm in the restaurant. Everybody gets involved. They're like, oh my God, you're shooting a video. I'm like, yeah, let's shoot this selfie. And they're like, wow, okay. And,
Yeah.
that energy is what I tried to capture to build the videos that the viewers look at now.
Right, right. And how do you find that that digital piece is influenced the rest of your business, the rest of the farm product and your, selling of the pork, not just, the hype, and that's good, man. Don't take away from that. But how is all that now influencing that bottom line?
So now it's to the point everything is full swing, full throttle, like hitting real hard.
Yeah.
We're shipping product out to Minnesota. We're shipping product down to Florida. We've had the opportunity to work with chefs down in Atlanta. Like everything now is like a well-oiled machine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the last piece of it is like literally we get so many customers from what they see on our social media content.
Yeah.
They're looking and they're like, oh my God, bro, do you really act like this? Can you come to my place and do the same thing?
Right.
And I'm like, baby, let's do it, man. They're
Come
like,
on
oh
to
my
Minnesota.
God. Yes, Minnesota. Yeah. It's
It's not January.
Yeah. So the other thing, let me mention this. So the e-commerce feature from the social media presence
Mm-hmm.
is what really got us out there in front of those customers in Minnesota, in Florida, in Chicago.
You feel like that picked up in 2020 around the pandemic period?
So I think during the pandemic, it was the safe way to be visible, to stay visible to the potential customer.
Yep.
But really, I think after we initially went down to the Pinehurst Barbecue Festival, because we were requested to come down there and do a video.
Mm-hmm.
I had never had that happen before. And from that, everybody was like, wow, who is this guy? Who is this energy?
Yeah.
Where is he from? What does he do? And then from that, people that were having weddings, they were like, hey, will you shoot a video at my wedding? And I'm like, sure. And they're like,
wow.
Will you bring the same energy? And I'm like, of course we will. And so like it just took off running with it. It kind of has its own space. It's in its own lane, if you will.
Sure, definitely a third part of the business. So then, aside part of that same thing, I want to talk about the dynamic duo. So, tell me about the tour show and how did you guys get started with this? You and who do you take with you, and what's that all about?
Okay. And I know you're going to find this hard to believe. So in 2015, my compadre, Jack Nels, that you see as far as the agriculture duo, dynamic duo.
Right.
I had the opportunity to meet him, and he was giving me the opportunity to sit down with Harris Teeter grocery store.
Uh-huh.
And, he created the opportunity, and I was able to sit down and really understand the dynamics of what they look for. However, what I learned was, so Jack is like, incredible when it comes to his knowledge. The other piece, so he's a veteran. That was the other thing that really drew me to him. Like, thank you to all of our servicemen and women across the country for what they do, the sacrifices they make. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a special person to do that. And so Jack was one of those people that did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started learning, about Jack and I really realized that it didn't bother him what culture you were from. He just wanted to hang out, and he would expose you to so much knowledge if you were willing to take it in. And so, like, I started hanging around Jack. I started learning so much from this guy, how he handled himself. He's very articulate with his vocabulary. Like the way he presents himself is incredible.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I went to him. I said, Jack, let me take you to lunch. And he was like, okay, where are we going? And I was like, well, pick one of the restaurants that we supply product to. So he picked one randomly. We went there and I started doing videos. And it was like immediately everybody was like, oh my God. So I just did a chain reaction. I kept hitting it. Boom, 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 boom. And everybody's like, wow, where's Jack and Ron going next?
Right.
And I call Jack Superman and he calls me Batman.
Okay.
That's what we call each other in the office.
Right.
And I feel like between us having the opportunity to work on the culinary scenes and then also going out to see different farms that might not be getting noticed, what we're doing is we're exposing everybody to them and the great commodities that they produce. And Jack is super passionate about that part of the industry, seeing the small farmers, the family operations, seeing them flourish, seeing them blossom. And he also dives into like the technological support with them. So I think it's super cool to be around someone like Jack, learn so much from him. And then we can hang out and eat a whole bunch of food and take pictures too. That sends it over the top. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt. That's a win-win-win for everybody. Again, excellent. So, what are some of the best stops that you guys have made here recently?
So the latest stop, which was one of the most awesome stops, he has a friend up in Asheville, North Carolina. Now let me back up on this. So everywhere that we go has phenomenal culinary experts, if you will. But the thing that I liked about Mr. Stephen Goff, so Mr. Goff can take a shoe and make it taste good. That's what floored me. I was like, bro, this is insane.
You had shoe? He gave you a shoe?
Yeah, dude, I want some of the stewed shoe, bro. but it's like literally a culinary expert has to have an imagination.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a vision and you want to render an experience to your potential customer, right? So when they come into the restaurant and they look at the menu, they're like, oh, wow, okay, let's do this. The other thing is he's not just restricted to one lane.
Mm-hmm.
So he can do brunch. He can do dinners. He works a lot with Shipley beef up in the mountains, up in the western part of North Carolina. So he's literally their branded chef.
Okay.
You know, he uses their products. He makes sure that anywhere he goes, he showcases their products. He'll be in Concord at the Flavors Show. And so like you can meet Mr. Goff, you can learn so much about what the guy's doing. And I gotta say that was probably the most anticipated stop that Jack and I went on last.
Yeah.
Just because like it was my first time being exposed to his skills.
Right. And where is it? Any particular location did you visit him?
What is the name of it? I can't remember it now, but I'll remember it before it's over. But it was downtown Asheville. And the unique thing about that restaurant, it was the oldest restaurant in downtown Asheville.
Right. Okay.
So that's why he wanted it. It's called what is it called? Man, you gonna make me go.
Oh gosh! Well, don't say the word.
You gonna make me text Jack and be like,
okay.
Bro.
We'll drop it in the. We'll put it in the blog. We'll make sure to include it in the blog there because now I want to talk about your recipe here. You know, I always get our guests to share a recipe, and you have shared Master Blend sausage rolls, and I'll have all the specifics. You know, over on the blog at lowslowbbqshow.com. But Ron, why did you choose to show? Oh, and there's a great video here of you too in the link. So I'll put the link in there as well. Definitely. And we'll put the link so you can see Ron and his family out here. But tell me, why did you share this particular recipe?
So the reason that I selected that particular recipe, everybody that follows us on social media and YouTube, they see us everywhere all the time, rocking it, right? And I felt like this recipe was one of those moments where I get to sit down with my kids. I have a 23-year-old and a 21-year-old. Both of them are in college. Okay. And this recipe was something that we could actually do together at the house, have fun. Mm-hmm. And it also created the opportunity to just highlight the relationship with Kubota because without Kubota, like our farming operation wouldn't be able to do what it does. But like overall, like the opportunity there with Kubota, just shouting them out, but then also showing my kids, because my kids watched everything in the beginning before we were ever known.
Right.
And my kids were looking like, Dad, okay, this is pointless. It's hard work. It doesn't make any sense. But now the kids look and they're like, Dad, we finished college and the farm helped us get through college. And now we actually create the opportunities where they go to the different festivals and they meet so many other chefs and pit masters.
Yeah.
And they flip out. Like my kids, they'll go to a festival. They were at the Carolina Barbecue Festival. And I gave them my, the thing you have around your neck.
Right. Yep.
Where you get your ticket punched and everything.
Right. The badge. Right.
Yeah, the badge. And so I gave that to the kids and they were like, Dad, are you saying we can go to every pit master and eat?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And they were like, oh my God. Hey, Chigger, they didn't have any hair done, no nails done. And they were out there just splurging at every barbecue pit master's booth.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? Just being able to expose them to where we are today and where we were, it's a big deal that the kids are being able to see. So that was the sole focus on that recipe. And the last thing was just being able to highlight the products that we have packaged in the retail space and online so that customers are aware, okay, wow, so this brand, Master Blend, it is so well-rounded. They can do packaged goods. They can do whole hog barbecue. They can do briskets. They cook Aunt Shirley's ribs. And I think just being able to appeal to any demographics is why we've been able to remain relevant for over the past 10 years.
Yeah, fantastic. Everybody loves good food. When you do good things and win-win scenarios like you guys are creating, of course, you got to be successful. So when I'm making the recipe, and again, I know I can go and all of our listeners can go and watch you guys and your beautiful family in the video, but what's one thing I need to think about or remembering when I'm preparing the Master Blend sausage rolls?
I think the biggest deal is making sure you're having some premium quality sausage, right?
Okay.
Because that's the main ingredient to making that recipe. And the cool thing about whenever you finish the actual hors d'oeuvre, if you will, it's a clean hors d'oeuvre, so you can sit there and watch TV with the kids late night, early morning, goof off. It's more so where you can have downtime. But then the other part of it is just being aware, okay, wow, so there's got to be something to this other than just the cream cheese that's in it. It's got to be the Master Blend sausage, right?
Yeah.
So
doubt.
then it just strikes your curiosity and you look it up and say, oh, wow, so what exactly is Master Blend and what are they doing and what is the goal and the purpose?
Right
that's the key thing to remember, big man.
Yeah, and when you go to visit you guys at masterblendfarms.com, I can go in there and plug it in and order it and have it shipped anywhere, wherever I am, right? At least in the U.S.
Yes, absolutely. Everywhere in the U.S., we can get it to you.
Yeah, cool. So while we're talking about tips and those types of things, tell me a little bit about, you've already said sausage is the key and prime, best type of meat you can get. But what is another one-of-a-kind practice that everyday barbecuer should try to follow? And again, we've covered a few of these in the years. And we know we need a good thermometer, and we know we need patience, and we know we need super duper Master Blend sausage, or really just fine quality meat, all jokes aside.
Yes,
but what's another tip people need to think about when they're out barbecuing and on their own or for other people?
So the cool thing the tip that I like to share is when it comes to cooking. So if you're cooking a brisket, be aware of having patience. Don't rush it. Mm-hmm. And then when it comes to like your whole hogs, okay, understand that if you take the approach of going low and slow, there's no doubt it's going to be awesome. But if you go too fast, you're going to take away something from that you didn't want to lose during the process of getting it prepared, right?
Yeah.
And then I think that when it comes to the recipes and preparing dishes, don't be afraid to gamble and try something new, right? Put your own little twist to a recipe. You can follow a recipe to the T when it comes to the directions, but if you change just a little something, a little seasoning, a different base, you might go tomato base, you might go vinegar base, but be creative and be cool with exploring the possibilities of what you come up with.
Yeah.
And I think overall you'll get some solid food. I would give recommendations on equipment, but I didn't want to do that.
No, that's okay. But let me see if I can recap what you said in a different way, I guess, is that, you dance for whatever song you hear. And when you do, don't be afraid to cut loose with that thing, right?
That's right,
Cut it
baby.
out. Right on. Well, so let's take it to the digital media side of that same type of question. If I'm a barbecue guy out there and I'm either trying to film a location or do my own cook, what's something I need to try to think about when I'm having a digital media experience besides hiring somebody else? Because I know that's part of it too, but we don't all have that.
So I would definitely say whenever like there's certain nuggets that you're looking for when it comes to your digital media piece.
Mm-hmm.
Every image, every frame doesn't look like awesome. So like take your time to look for the very good elements, the very, the closest to perfection as possible. And then I also think that when it comes, I have to jump on this. When it comes to your equipment, make sure that you have equipment that is tried and true.
Mm-hmm.
Presentation is everything. And so if you're filming, you want to make sure that you have quality equipment because you want your viewers to be captivated not only by what you're preparing, but also what you're preparing the food on.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So I definitely say presentation is everything. Have the equipment that's going to stand behind you because like we have an event coming up down at Rockingham Motor Speedway, October 7th.
Okay.
Okay. We have to cook for 2,000 people.
Yeah, that's not an easy task.
It's not an easy task, but with the right equipment, it's not going to be a problem at all.
Right. Okay.
So we'll have the smoker going. We'll put about 400 wings up there. Smoke a few wings. We just bought some new equipment, so we're going to fry some wings to give it that nice golden brown crisp. And then what we'll do, just for everyone that likes a little seafood, we'll do some bacon wrapped scallops.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now at this point, you're stimulating everybody's palate. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's
right.
wanting to try a little bit of all of it. And then, we're going to bring the Aunt Shirley's ribs. And the ribs, we're going to do a dry rub to it.
Mm-hmm.
Throw it on the grill, let the charcoal simmer on it for a little bit, and then blow it away. You know what I'm saying? But again, it's all in your equipment.
Right. Well, so it sounds like we got to get down east to Rockingham on October 7th, right? If nothing else.
Hey, bro, look. So you need to be there for October 7th. We'll also be back in Pinehurst for the Festival Davion, October 28th. We have about 2,800 people to feed down there at the airport.
Yeah,
hey, bro, It's showtime around here, baby. It's time to rock and roll.
Right on. And I know you guys you participate in Pinehurst. You've done that a few years. And I saw you guys at the Carolina Barbecue Festival, as we said. How big is that in your overall business? What role does that play with the whole, the nation?
Man, so those opportunities have been monumental. What I mean by that is it puts us in the different areas, the different parts of the state with people that have never seen us before.
Mm-hmm.
But now the other cool thing is it creates the opportunity where some of our followers will literally follow us to every single event.
Yeah.
So
you got
like,
groupies.
Yeah. And dude, and I was so floored when I met some of them down in Pinehurst. Because they were like, man, we saw you at the Carolina Barbecue Festival and you rocked the bells. We saw you at the Festival Davion, man, and you rocked the bells.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're back here, bro, and you're rocking the bells. So it doesn't even make it hard to create the video content, social media stuff, because you have so many people there enthusiastic every time they see you, man.
Yeah.
But cool. It comes from good food.
That's right. Well, and that kind of takes us, that's a nice segue into what I call family, the family jewels or secret time here on the Low and Slow Barbecue Show. And, what I want to know is kind of probe deeply, what's it like to run this level of business with, 12 people, but among those 12 people, there's family members. What's it like to have, a family stake in work and run a business with your family?
So as a father, it's super cool to have the kids involved because, okay, I'm being an example to them, but they're seeing the return on the hard work.
Yeah.
Like they're fascinated by it because they're like, and this is, I'm not a materialistic person, but like if my daughter says, hey, Dad, so my air conditioning isn't working. Can I have a new car? I mean, it's an interesting conversation, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
But but the resources are there to be able to render that when there's a need. When it comes to having a phenomenal team, I've just been fortunate to be able to work with a lot of the veterans that have served our country,
Hmm.
and see and like learning the level of respect that they have for the country. So you realize these servicemen and women, they have their whole life ahead of them, and it's literally like they put their life on pause just to make sure that everything is good for our country. So that like knocks me out of the park. I'm like, wow. And then I would say that at the level or the intensity that we move now and the relationships we've been able to build along the way, like, yo, Chig, being real, I never thought I would be working with a producer out of Montreal, right?
Yeah.
Because where I live is rural North Carolina, Duplin County, small
Hmm.
population, 5,000 people in the city limits. But to be able to meet with people that are making their own lane and making an impact when it comes to film production and making movies and videos and growing the awareness of other brands, like, bro, that takes it to the next level. So like Paul, my producer, he's had an opportunity to enter a relationship with Disney, and I was floored because I remember how he started the first time I met him. He was, he wasn't that big, but he was dreaming big.
Yeah.
And here we are now, 2023. My dude is all in South Africa filming. He's over
Wow.
here filming for like the Dungarees commercial, Levi commercial.
Big
Like,
time.
what I'm saying? So it's like all of it. And what I tried to do was all of us stay tight knit so we could grow together. Like my pat has been, no matter how high we go, how big we get, everybody we started with that's still behind us, we're taking them with us to the top. So being able to fellowship with our colleagues out in Texas, the family down at Kubota, being able to sit down with them, eat with them, but at the same time they watch us as we move across the country. That's a big thing. And then the same thing with Kingsford. So I think that with Kingsford and the brand standing behind us, and now we've earned their trust when it comes to highlighting their brand.
Hmm.
Like now, we pick up a phone, they never hesitate to see where we are, what we're thinking, what new ideas we want to come up with. Like
Yeah.
it's next level, bro. And I never thought it would be this awesome.
It's definitely a proven commodity, right? It makes it easier once you've got a proven thing. You just keep getting bigger, and as those other people get bigger, they bring you up just as you bring in those other people. So that's cool. So, tell me, one surprise do you feel like that you've encountered along the way of? And I want to take it to the farm. Let's go to the farm side of this. Back to when your girls were young and they were saying, "Daddy, why are you doing all this work?" Because I've got some farming life in my background. Ours were chickens, and that was a whole different thing. But what is something that you feel like that surprised you and you've learned in that farming piece?
So I think in the farming phase, my dad, my father-in-law, he came to me one day, and matter of fact, it was Easter Sunday, man, 2016. He called me and he said, "Hey, I need to talk to you for a second behind the barn." And
Oh,
bro, I'm sitting here like, "Oh my
there's
God, this is
trouble.
not good." And so I meet him behind the barn, and I'm like, okay, he's about to crucify me. And he's like, "Listen, I'm proud of you." And I'm like, holy cow. It's hard to impress him. He's 88 years old.
Uh-huh.
So it's hard to impress him. And it's really hard to get his attention if he's already working on other big projects, right? And so when he called me and we went behind the barn and we just talked, he said, "Dude," he said, "I never envisioned you being where you are today." And that, like I said, that was 2016.
Yeah.
And and it didn't even seem big at the time because we had received, okay, so it felt good receiving an award from Duplin County. We received the Martin Luther King Award, which was basically a person that was showing support and being innovative in the community.
Mm-hmm.
So we had just received that, and he was already flabbergasted with that. He was like, "Dude, so you've done this?" And I was like, "Yes, sir." And he's like, "So are you going to slow down?" I was like, "Oh, bro, we can't do that, man."
Right. Well,
Like,
this is just 4 years into really what you said. So 2012, 2016, 4 years into it. And he's asking, are you going to slow down? And now look where you've come even. And that's big from that. Don't get me wrong. That's big. But now so much bigger.
yeah. Well, when we got recognized in 2018, he was like, "What the what?"
Yeah.
Because I had to beg him. I was like, okay, so Dad, we got to take this road trip. We'll be gone for about 2-3 days. I need you and Mom to go. And he's looking like, dude, we don't like to travel that far, bro. And I'm like, take one for the team, big man. And so we ended up going up to Greensboro. I stood on the stage. I geeked out a little bit. I received the award. And I think at that point it was motivation. I was like, okay, so what can we do next? Like, this can't be the end. There has to be more.
Right.
And it just kept climbing, bro. And like, 2 weeks ago we were featured in Our State magazine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that blew me away because I had
Yeah.
always fantasized about being represented by that publication.
Yeah, of course.
And the crazy thing was, prior to getting that opportunity, I sat down with Mr. Bernie in Asheville and ate dinner.
Yeah.
And he was explaining to me the vision of Our State magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow. And then he was talking about how much pride he had with how much growth that Our State magazine had gotten since he had owned it. And then I think this year they're celebrating their 90th anniversary.
Right. Okay.
So like, bro, it's like to see, and Mr. Bernie is a mentor to me. So it's like literally to watch my mentors make an impact in North Carolina, on the East Coast, in the United States. And I get a chance to follow in their footsteps. Yeah, bro, like I'm floored, man. And we still rocking, bro. Like it ain't even slowing down.
Yeah. So we're in secret time, and you've been so gracious with your time. But I want to ask you, I'm going to be like you, just like your pops there. What's next? What is going to be next for Master Blend Family Farms?
So where we are now, we're trying to finish up some construction at a new property we just bought. We acquired 54 acres.
Mm-hmm.
With this 54 acres, we want to have like a demonstration area where we can showcase how to cook whole hogs.
Okay.
That's a project that I'm wanting to facilitate with Kingsford. And then we're also building our commissary kitchen.
Okay.
And with the commissary kitchen, it'll work alongside the food truck. So now we'll be able to take on larger contracts because we can handle more food, larger capacities, and really try to make an impact, add another food truck. And I think at the end, my goal would be to do a tour just to showcase the product and let everybody try the food, bro.
Yeah. Wow. That's fantastic. Make sure we get an invitation to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show, because that sounds cool. We got to get down east and see you and a whole bunch of other people as well.
Yes, sir. Hey, you already invited, big baby. You in there.
Definitely. So we're going to wrap it up here, Ronald, with our Low and Slow Showdown. These are some quick hitters. I know you've been through it once, but we're going to send you through it again and see maybe how things have changed. So right out of the gate, and I think I know where you're going to go with this, but gas, pellets, charcoal, or wood?
I still like charcoal, bro. I look, and for the record, the wood pellets, they're great. The wood is phenomenal.
Yeah.
But I'm stuck on the charcoal, boss.
Hey, I'm right there with you. And don't get me, I'm right there with Kingsford Land too. I am all over it. That's all we use. I know there's a lot of other people that talk about that, but I'm with, like you, from a little kid. Dad poured it and we built a little pyramid there, and they even used the old lighter fluid with stuff. I don't do that now, but now we've evolved that kind of thing, but definitely charcoal. But you do have to throw some wood in there to get a nice little bit of wood smoke. So if you do that, what's the wood you're going to put in there?
So we're going to put pecan in the wood box, in the smoke box. We're going to let that simmer down, get us those nice embers. We're going to let it smoke 2 hours, and then we're going to turn it on full court press, baby. We're going for the gold. Right
on. So why pecan?
So I like the finish that we get from it. That aroma that it is starts to kind of embed into the meat. I really like that. And like I said, with it being hard to impress some of the older people that hang around us, we've been getting a lot of great reviews from using the pecan. Now, with the whole hog, we've used the hickory. And I don't even have to say anything about the hickory wood, bro. Like, that's a salute to those before us, man. We know what that is.
No doubt. Hey, I live in a place called Hickory, so I know all about it. All right. Well, so what is the best state in these United States for barbecue?
Texas, all day long.
Texas. This is the North Carolina program there, Ron. You're North Carolina agriculture. How are you going to throw Texas out there?
Hey, bro. So there's this lady down at Snow's Barbecue.
Oh yeah, okay.
And I'm a fan of hers. She's 76 years old.
Uh-huh.
She's been doing it forever.
Right.
She also works in a school, but on the weekends she cooks barbecue, and hands down, everybody talks about her brisket, bro.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going Snow's Barbecue, man. Hey,
And
Texas.
her and that one place lifts the state above all others.
Yes, sir. So they were just recognized top 50 barbecue locations in the country.
Yeah, right on. Okay, well, no arguments. Maybe some arguments. But if we're looking at North Carolina styles, which is better, Eastern or Western?
I'm gonna stick with the Eastern just because, like Ed Mitchell, Sam Jones. I've had a chance to sit down with them guys, and it's mad respect to the pioneers. So I'll go Eastern on that,
Yeah,
bro.
nothing wrong with that. I'm even kind of getting a little converted there. So pork, beef, chicken, fish, or something else?
To be honest, so I'm always gonna love stand behind pork, just because of the opportunity we have to share our experience and journeys with it and adventures. But I'm starting to get real frisky about this seafood with the smoke, man.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like to hear that. It's like
Yeah,
Matthew Register there at in Southern Smoke, right? He did some cool stuff at the Carolina Barbecue Festival. That was the shrimp ceviche that was smoked.
yes.
Nice, super nice.
Hey, please, look. Hey, let me salute Matt, man. That dude is killing the game, bro.
Yeah, no joke. So seafood, I want to hear some more from Master Blend Family Farms in the future on the seafood. We'll look for you in Pinehurst or at Camp North End or the next stop. So sauce, better with or without?
So that's a loaded question. If you got a nice rub to it, bro, hey, you don't have to have the sauce, baby.
Right.
But you got to have a nice rub.
Yeah, you got to have good meat, good flavorful meat.
Yeah. So we
on the side.
One of the entrees that we serve off the food truck, we call it Aunt Shirley's ribs. There's no sauce.
No sauce.
And we sell out.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. We use the St. Louis style ribs.
Mm-hmm.
We'll actually rub them down the day before, so let them sit about 24 hours.
Right.
We'll go ahead and get the smoker going, reach at 225. You throw the ribs on it. Hey, bro, listen, honest to goodness, we were down at the golf resort. We did a barbecue class down in at the resort, and it was in February. Bro, them ribs took out everybody on the golf course, bro.
Nice. We got some extra tips there from our man.
And see, what I like about those ribs too, without the sauce, it's not messy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
that's everybody's biggest beef with ribs. They make such a mess, but if they're good without the sauce.
Yeah. So if you plan a couple of holes and you're on the golf course and you grab a basket of ribs, hey, bro, you winning.
You can even stick a couple in your pocket and be okay.
Yes.
But that's how I roll. So last but not least, barbecue. Is it a verb or a noun?
It's why are you doing this, man? Come on, bro. So barbecue is a verb. Barbecue, because, and I look at it that way because barbecue isn't just the noun, the item, the food. Barbecue has so many elements. It's the experience, right? It's the flavor. It's the process. Like, so many memories are made during barbecue, bro. So I'm going with it like that. We're going to say it's a verb, man.
And that, my friends, is the lowdown from Ronald Simmons, Master Blend Nation, Master Blend Family Farms. Ronald, thank you so much for joining the Low and Slow Barbecue Show.
Hey, bro, thank you so much. Wait. Hey, to the Master Blend Nation, you guys know the motto, baby. All gas, no brakes, 365. Turn up. Let's work this magic, baby.
Absolutely. All gas, no brakes, 365. 24/7, right there with you, Ronald. Thanks so much for your time.
Yes, sir. You have a wonderful day, bro.
Thank you. You've been listening to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show on the Mesh.tv network of podcast. Be sure to visit us online at lowslowbbqshow.com. You can learn more about Master Blend Family Farms and the recipe for Master Blend sausage rolls while you're at lowslowbbqshow.com. Look for other podcasts in our Carolina Pitmaster series. You'll find interviews with Matthew Register from Southern Smoke Barbecue of NC, Garen Kirkman from John G's Barbecue, and Ken and Jess Hess from County Smoke in Lynchburg, Virginia. If you like what you hear in the Low and Slow Barbecue Show, please follow us and subscribe in your favorite podcast stream. We'd love it if you could give us a 5-star rating and, more than anything, share the show with your friends. Special thanks to Master Blend Nation's main man, Ronald Simmons. Thanks as well to our producer, Andrew Moose, and the whole team at the Mesh.tv network of podcasts. Most especially, thank you for listening to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show. Remember, for the best barbecue and the best barbecue podcast, make it low and slow.
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.